Brett Dawson from Sellout Crowd here with you at a mostly empty Paycom Center after the Thunder's 124-101 preseason win against the Milwaukee Bucks. 4 preseason games down for OKC, 1 to go. And what we saw tonight, pretty significant progress from the Thunder, particularly at the defensive end. You know, Mark Daigneault said this week, you can throw out all the caveats, all the qualifiers about preseason. It's a black or white issue. Is your defense good or is it not good? And it had not been good enough so far. Not a perfect effort tonight by the Thunder, but in blowing out the Bucks, a much better, more complete defensive effort. We saw a pretty significant difference from what we've seen in terms of the way the Thunder guarded the ball, the way they rotated. Mark Daigneault praised their game plan execution on Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard. Giannis still had a great game, 8 for 12. Dame really struggled, 2 for 11, missed all 5 of his 3-point shots. And what we saw was a good team effort, good execution, and continued growth from Chet Holmgren. That's been one of the themes of this preseason. You know, he had a play where Giannis kind of overpowered him in transition. We're going to see that sometimes where a physical player like Giannis with 50 pounds and 7 years on him is going to be too much for him to handle in different ways. Maybe it's a post-up, maybe a transition play like tonight where Giannis kind of powers through. But we also see, you know, a moment where Chet is backpedaling on a Damian Lillard drive. Dame drops to shoot the fadeaway, and Chet is able to block that shot, you know, cover that ground, get a hand extended and block a fadeaway shot. Really hard to do, seeing those kind of continued developments in Chet Holmgren's game. He was really good tonight. The Thunder defense forced Milwaukee into 39% shooting, 16 turnovers, but really more than the numbers. It was really about just the way this team looked and executed and committed defensively. That was something that's really been missing these first few preseason games. Offense, very sharp on a night when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander really wasn't. Thunder shot the ball really well. The other starters, especially Chet Holmgren, 18 points. Jalen Williams, J-Dub, 18 points. Josh Giddey, 19 points. Really, really efficient. Didn't need a big game out of Chet, and you saw kind of an illustration of what the Thunder has talked about a lot this preseason in terms of the way they want to play, not just with pace, but with a bunch of different guys, all 5 guys in the starting lineup who can dribble, pass, and shoot. You saw some of that unselfishness. Josh Giddey, who had been kind of a setup guy the last game he played against Detroit in Montreal, came back much more aggressive, got downhill. And as he said after the game, there's going to be nights where he's got it, nights where some other guys have it. It'll alternate kind of who's got the ball and is dominating, and then who's playing off that guy, who's playing off the ball. And the Thunder have really interchangeable parts on the perimeter. And a guy in Chet Holmgren who, with the way he stretches the floor offensively, can kind of unlock some of that. One setback for the Thunder, Jalen Williams, J-Will, the big man out of Arkansas. A hamstring injury that is going to keep him sidelined for at least a couple of weeks. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. That means he will miss the start of the regular season, which begins next week in Chicago. That leaves the Thunder with a little bit of a shorthanded front court. They traded Jeremiah Robinson-Earl and Victor Oladipo earlier today for Kevin Porter Jr. and a couple of picks from the Houston Rockets, a couple of second-round picks in the future. Kevin Porter Jr., controversial acquisition if you keep him around, but the Thunder waived him. He's been going through legal troubles off the court. Immediately waived. The Thunder made that clear that he would not be a part of the team. So he's gone, and the 2 draft picks are off in the future, but moving Jeremiah Robinson-Earl leaves the Thunder without a whole lot of options in the front court. Olivier Sarr, a 2-way player at center, played 13 minutes tonight, had some lineups with Chet Holmgren and Olivier Sarr together. Might see a little bit more of that. Don't know what's going to happen with Jack White. There's still one more roster move to make for the Thunder to get to 15 NBA contracts and 3 2-way contracts. The 2-way contracts are set. They're at 16 NBA contracts. That's an issue they'll have to figure out before opening night next week in Chicago. And, you know, it could be that Jack White is a player who gets waived. There could be a trade somewhere along the way. Didn't see a lot of Jack White tonight. Probably a good indicator, given the minutes available, that he's not going to get a great look as a rotation player. Whether that means he's not going to be on the team remains to be seen. One more tune-up for the Thunder. They go to Tulsa on Thursday to play those Pistons again, and then it's off to the regular season next week in Chicago. We'll be with you after that Tulsa game from the BOK Center. We'll talk to you then.